Rebecca Linney, Epip. Having just watched a footballing performance, I would like you to highlight the performer's strengths and weaknesses in skills, fitness and tactics, to prioritise a major weakness and give an action plan for this weakness that includes a timescale, coaching points and progressive practices. I would then like you to explain the local and national opportunities for this player and the health and fitness benefits of taking part in this activity.
After watching the video, I have identified many skill-based strengths. For example, her shooting was one of her strengths, as many of her shots were on target and she scored, which showed that when producing the shot, when producing plantar flexion, that many of her shots were accurate on goal. Another strength was her short passing, as it was quick and efficient to other players, and they weren't intercepted as they weren't slow. Another strength is her dribbling, as it was very close to her and the ball didn't really leave her feet, and she overtook many players when she was dribbling with the ball. Some weaknesses which are skill based were her heading, as when she tried to propel forward she missed the ball, which showed that she didn't have good contact with her forehead. Her long passing wasn't very efficient, as it was intercepted quite a lot. And when she kicked the ball it didn't travel far. Another strength was her weakness, was her ball control, as she often lost the ball on many occasions. For fitness-based strengths, her balance was good, as she had a very low centre of mass, which caused her to dribble with the ball effectively. Her agility was good on the ball, as when she was dribbling, she was moving in a linear pattern from left to right, which showed that she was under good control. Her coordination was good, as when she took her shots she knew exactly where she was aiming for, and she would look at the keeper and then place the ball where the keeper wasn't there. For weaknesses, fitness, flexibility was one of her weaknesses, as she tended not to reach the ball effectively, which showed that she had weak muscle groups such as her rectus femoris and her gastrocnemius. Her speed wasn't that good, as she didn't always propel forwards. Sorry, that was a strength, not a weakness. Her speed was effective, as she overtook many players, which showed that she had very good muscle groups, such as a mixture of fast glycolytic and slow oxidative, which is why she would jog and then sprint occasionally past the players. Her stamina was also good, which links into the speed, as she would stop sprinting often and slow down to catch her breath. Tactics. She had very good communication skills, as she would tell other players to know where she was to receive the ball. She used wide play, which opened up the space for her to run into when she got the ball, and she used forward play, which allowed her to carry the ball forward when she was dribbling. Her man-to-man marking was really effective, as she closed down her players very, very quickly, and she was breaking free a lot, as when she got the ball she would push the ball into a space and run after it so the player could not catch up with her. After looking at all the weaknesses, I've identified a priority weakness of heading, as this wasn't very effective during the game. For a perfect model for heading, there are many coaching points which are included. For example, your eyes have to be open and your neck has to be very firm when extending the neck around the pivot joint. You have to have good contact with the forehead to allow it to go in the direction that you want it to go, and then you have to attack the ball and not let the ball hit you to gain enough power. You have to have a rocking motion, and your arms need to propel forward to enable you to have that enough power. When producing the rocking motion, your centre of mass goes from low to high to enable you to gain that full effect of performing a powerful header. This also allows you, when producing the rocking motion, your reflection of your knees is caused, which helps to improve your vastus medialis and your rectus femoris muscle groups. For this weakness, I've devised some progressive practices. The timescale for these progressive practices are over 3 weeks, 2 sessions per week, each session lasting 30 minutes. In the first week, during the first session, it's a very basic, simple training method, which will involve the player standing about 5 yards from a thrower behind a cone, and then the thrower will throw the ball, and the player will simply head it back using good contact of the forehead, aiming for the thrower's chest. This is a very simple skill as it requires limited information and you don't really need feedback. This is good for cognitive learners. During the second session on the first week, this will then be improved by making the performer either head the ball to the feet, which is an attacking header, or get them to head the ball over the thrower's head to make a defensive header. During the second week, for the third session, the thrower will then throw the ball and vary the height of the ball and vary the distance. This will test their aerial ability and make them work on timing when controlling the ball. During the fourth session on the second week, this will then be improved by adding a player. This will help increase the competitive mode of the player. By bringing in a player, it helps them make it more of a realistic game situation by having someone to jump up with and head the ball. During the last week, on the fifth session, a goal will be added to make it even more realistic for a game situation and give the player something to aim for. And then on the final session, there will be a goalkeeper added to make it more complex and to give the player something to aim for. Moving on to the local opportunities, there's One Bun Leisure Centre, which consists of a sports hall and then the outdoor pitches. This increases participation, as even though there could be serious bad weather conditions outside, you can always go in the sports hall, which means that if the pitch is waterlogged, there's always a place to play, which increases participation as there's always somewhere to go. In addition to this, Cosley School Sports Centre is a school like One Bun Leisure Centre, which has many outdoor pitches. However, it has AstroTurf floodlight pitches, which is also good for weather conditions as it won't get waterlogged. There are many grassroots clubs such as Cuford Eagles Football Club, which has just received a grant of £800,000 from the Football Foundation. which is the country's largest sports charity. This grant has helped to improve their facilities and allows them to develop 11 new size football pitches and changing rooms. Nationally, Sky have just invested a huge amount of money to improve grassroots facilities, and the FA director, Kelly Simmons, has just gave £30 million to help improve grassroots facilities. Moving on to the barriers, there are many barriers for girls football. For example, funding is a huge issue, because at community sports level, a lot of sponsorships don't really give girls sponsors, as they feel they haven't really got a large supporter base, and therefore they don't want to waste their money if they don't feel like their sponsor's going to get shown. Without this money, girls can't really participate, as it makes it hard for them. Another barrier is facilities, as a lot of sports halls prioritise boys over girls and prioritise the times that they want. Transport is an issue, as away matches can be a problem, and money links to this, as you have to pay quite a lot of money for subs to go to these games. One of the huge barriers, probably the main one, is girls have a lack of self-confidence and esteem. This is mainly due to body image, and not a lot of girls participate, which is why people don't really influence off each other. Despite this, there are many campaigns to help stop these barriers, such as the national campaign This Girl Can, which is developed by Sport England, which is a government agency to help increase the participation of community football in England. This national campaign is a celebration of active women up and down the country, and helps make more girls and women play football and other sports. There is also Show Racism the Red Card, which is a campaign developed by top footballers to help educate against racism. The national governing body for girls football is the FA, the Football Association, which invests around £4.5 million every year back into the game. The Football League Trust is a trust which helps encourage girls and women to play football, and there's the Football Foundation, which is the country's largest sports charity, which also helps to provide new facilities and top-class coaching to improve performance. There is a recreational class such as first class football, which is a weekend programme which helps to encourage people to play football, especially young girls, to have the confidence and esteem. It's provided with top class coaching, and it also has many facilities. The participation rates for last year were 150,000 women and girls played football, which has increased massively over the past 30 years. There is a pathway to get local club girls to top performers. Firstly, you have to take part in local grassroots clubs, which is dependent upon the club with times and things like that. You will then develop into the FA Advanced Coaching Centre, which is a centre aimed to pick the best county girls around the country. You will then go to the FA Regional Centre of Excellence, which is clubs like Aston Villa, which you're committed to and have to sign for. You'll then go to the FA Elite Performance Camp, which is you get selected from your regional clubs and then go and play over 2 days. And then finally you get selected for women's under 17s and under 19s squad, England squad. And on the performance development pyramid, this section would be an excellence section, as this is full of elite performers. Within coaching, you can take locally you can take a basic referee course, which is at community level, and then nationally you can go on a national development coaching course, which there are many personal, mental and social benefits for girls football. Firstly, personal. Football can increase your self-esteem and confidence and intrinsic motivation, as it gives you, scoring a goal can really boost your self-esteem. Mentally, it releases stress, as your mind is on the pitch rather than thinking about other things. It also gives you something to aim for, and also with a personal benefit, defeat allows you to deal with selflessness, and the social benefit is that teamwork allows you to make new friends. There are many impacts on football. Skeletal benefits. The bones, joints and ligaments become stronger in density due to the increase in calcium. And for the performer that I've just watched, this will be important, especially as it's a high impact sport. So when she's producing tackles around the synovial joints of the ankle, this will make them more stronger, and then which links in to the fact of it reduce the risk of osteoporosis, which is the weakening of the bones, and this will therefore allow the performer to have more lifelong involvement in the sport. It will also increase in joint stability for the performer. Muscular benefits are that blood flow to the muscle increases, especially as you're moving in different intensity levels across the pitch, and you develop muscle hypertrophy, which is the increase in muscle size. For respiratory benefits, the lungs have to work harder to produce more carbon dioxide and remove the oxygen, which increases your fitness levels on the pitch and makes your lungs stronger and more efficient to work. This will be beneficial to the performer, as it'll be easier to control her breathing more frequently, and it would increase her stamina levels. For the cardiovascular benefits, the performer would increase her resting heart rate and also increase her stroke volume, which is the amount of blood ejected from the heart per beat. This will increase her fitness levels up, as it would keep the